Schon gar nicht bei
Boom, boom, boom. We're live, everybody. Hey, welcome, Red TV and Conversation. We're live, and it's Peter Clark. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Don't let the hair fool you. I know all those clips at the beginning kind of got people, hey, I had to get a cut. Hair still stuck in 1987, slippery when wet, Bon Jovi. What can I say? I'm just stuck right there. Good to see you, everybody. So appreciate you being here. That's the most important thing, is that you are here. So thank you for being with me today. And I'm super excited, because I'm always super excited, because look at that guy over there. I can't wait to bring this guy on. We're going to have a great conversation about courage. Oh my gosh, everyone, most people know what I've been through in my life a little bit. So courage is one of my favorite words. And I met this guy. I'm going to talk about that in a second. I was just so excited. I was so moved by him. And I said, man, we got to connect. I just felt him. And we're going to talk about that in a few seconds here. It's going to be fantastic. So give me a second here, everybody. Hey, if you like what you see, here's the only plug. This is it. If you like what you see, just share it with your network and so on. Red TV, we're trying to amplify people doing good in the world. That's what we're doing. Lifting all the boats, everybody. That's what we're all about. That's what we're trying to do. Just being kind out there. That's what we're trying to do out there all the time. Just being kind out there. So do that. I'd be super appreciated. There's your plug right there. Listen. Boom, that guy over there. So excited to have this gentleman with me, because I met him at the gathering. I met him here in Calgary, well, certainly in Alberta. He was at a conference called The Gathering, Banff. He was a keynote speaker, and it just resonated with me. Caught me at a moment that I was like, wow, no, he was catching everybody, by the way. It wasn't just me, but I just caught what he was pitching that day, and it was fantastic. So I super appreciated him. We have limited time. We're going to move so fast. It's not funny. We're going to move so fast today that we have a lot to cover. So let me introduce this beautiful young soul. Can't wait to talk to him here. Leadership and keynote speaker, executive coach, trainer, best-selling author, of course, and calls himself a courage Sherpa. Do you know what a Sherpa is? We'll talk about that in a second. He shared his methods with leaders at Google, Kellogg's, Snapchat, Charity Water, Kraft Heinz, and so many more. He believes that being courageous is our ultimate competitive advantage. I think he's right about that. He envisions a world where courageous leaders are creating courageous cultures. That's going to be an interesting question. We won't talk about that, because hybrid working now. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Husband and father of two, and sadly, this is a sad thing, he might be a Washington Capitals fan. I did some research. I saw him post about that before, and I'm thinking, but he's forgiven. It's all good. It's all good. If that's the case, and he likes Ovechkin, I'll get over it. Some of us won't, but I'm going to get over it. Hey, listen, everybody. This is just a joy for me to have this guy. Ryan Berman, welcome to the show. How are you?
Is Ovi not adored everywhere?
Not outside of DC and Russia. Just saying. Not outside of DC and Russia. But hey, listen. Probably the best goal scorer of all time. I mean, prolific score, pure goal scorer. So argumentatively, he's about 125 away from Gretzky, but just from goal scoring, I won't take that away from him, obviously. I'm sure he's happy to hear that. How are you, buddy?
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
What's it been? A month? 2 months?
It's been a couple months. Yeah, it's been since April. I think you were out here in Canada, which is fantastic. It was so cool to have you here. And was that your first time to the mountains, by the way?
Yeah. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. Like, if you couldn't have scripted it better. You know, both of us are kind of in the production world a little bit, right? So you land, and actually I didn't even know this. I think I was like both the last flight in before they canceled a bunch of flights, and I think it was the last flight out before they canceled a bunch of flights.
No
So I
way.
had some karma working for me. But when I land, I like the first moment that I see Calgary, there's like these puffy, beautiful. I mean, I'm sure you were like, great, Ryan. Last thing I need to see is snow in April. But I live in San Diego,
All
so
right. That would be
I'll
a
take
treat
it.
for you.
It was a
Totally.
treat.
Well, that's why Ryan and Chris were planning it from the gathering. We're planning it for April because they thought, you know what, we'll try to give them springtime in the mountains. And of course, you came in during that time. Hey, listen, it still worked out because you showed up, which was really, really important. Let's set the intention here. I want to set the intention here. My beautiful spouse, who is just unbelievably talented and so on. Remind cards. She has these little remind cards, my friend. She just made them the other day. I swear to God, and I'm proud of her. And but I'll tell you, I've been using them, and they set the intention for the conversation. I don't know what it is. I know the conversation between you and I is going to be fantastic. But hey, I'm going to ask you to tell me to stop. I'm going to tell you tell me when to stop. I'm just going to take a card. You feel it, brother.
And stop.
There we go. Take them one right off the top. Take them one right off the top. Explore. We were just talking about exploring, coming out to the mountains and so on. Be a tourist in your own town. Hey, I've never been to San Diego. Do you know that? Never been.
Down.
I've heard this. I've heard this. So the next 7 days, visit a new or old part of town to explore sights and sounds and food. But I think you're going somewhere soon, are you not? Are you traveling soon?
I am. It won't be in my own town. One of the beautiful things about San Diego is you've got different in every direction, about 2 hours away by flight, hour away. So I got Vegas, I've got San Francisco, I've got Cabo for Mexico fans. We're doing the drive to Palm Springs. But Peter, I got to tell you, like, I'm looking at this remind cards from, is it Renuka?
Yeah, Renuka. She's my beautiful spouse. Yeah, she just made them.
She's gonna like this. So it's so funny. Like, I always said, like, I mean, I know courage is my word, but I think a good place to start is I don't see, like, I'm actually in the business. So I like the and remind, and I like that Renuka can't be spelled without the And I think when people need to rethink an idea or regalvanize themselves or reinvigorate a staff, like, I think the sets you free. And that's really the business that I'm in. It's like when you're ready for your a reset, then you bring in a guy like me to work with to figure out, okay, well, what do we have to go backwards first before we can actually get the off the ground? So I'm all for this remind. I love the remind card series. Pretty cool.
Oh, thank you, brother. She's gonna be. Do you know you just made someone's day like you wouldn't believe? That is so kind of you. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Super kind. Let's talk about you, my fine friend. This is how everyone can reach him. RyanBerman.com. That's where we can go. We're going to talk about that in a few seconds. And there's a couple other places we can go to. We're going to go to Return on Courage. .com. We're going to go there as well, everybody. Hey, look at this beautiful book that this beautiful soul signed for me, by the way. Signed for me. The first time we met, my friend, you spoke. I was way down the back and I was in tears. I don't know why, but you were just touching on things that I know it had a business focus to it. I get that. I really do. But you were just talking about courage and making courageous decisions in your life. And so I was reading it about personally, because when you started your talk at the gathering, you actually said, I don't know if you're going through something personal. Like, you didn't even start with business. And I was like, wow, is he talking to me? Is he talking to me? So I just love that. I'm going to show a picture of us because I wanted to show everybody that you signed my book and you got the picture there. But before I even do that, my friend, I haven't even asked you this question. It's so important to me. I always ask this. How are you and how's your family, your kids? Everyone okay?
Oh, man, we're great. We're great. And it's funny. I think when you do what we do, because I don't see us any different. Like, I love amplifying other people's stories. I see myself, again, it's back to this courage thing. I don't see myself as like, this big courageous Navy SEAL no, I'm just an observationalist. I'm an observationalist that's looking, hearing for what's not said. And then you take what you learn and you try to help other people make sense of it all. And I thought even the way you talked about the gathering, we they joked up there. This is like the best advertisement for the gathering. They joked up there. It's not a conference, it's an event. And, you know, you're enveloped in these beautiful mountains. And in some ways, you're kind of stuck up there in these beautiful mountains in the right way.
Yes, in the
And,
right. Yes.
and you get to connect with real people. And the, you know, for context, the slides that you're talking about, I had this one slide and it was almost split down the middle. On the left side was a business attire shoe, and on the right side was like a Converse Chuck. And in the spirit of the gathering, and I went on day 3, you know, by that point you have marinated in the content. It wasn't a business conference. It was
No.
something else. It was an event. And then I didn't know if you were going through something personally. This isn't you, this is the metaphorical you, the audience you,
Yeah.
or if it was somebody on the team, was a leadership issue, or maybe it was something in the business. But I wanted to stay wide enough that people could go on the adventure that they needed. What was my remind card?
Your remind
Expedition?
card for this one right now is explore. So the
Explore.
idea of exploration, and yeah, that's how I felt up there. By the way, I felt exploring. I was meeting new people, new minds, new ideas, all those things you just talked about. Yeah,
And so in some ways, my job was to just give you enough to go do what you needed to explore. And it made my day that you came up to me afterwards and you were so honest and shared what you shared. It was, you just, I think that's the whole point, is you put your story out into the world, and the right people are attracted to it, and that becomes your people. And like, it's as simple as that. And maybe
yeah.
somebody that's not ready for this conversation isn't gonna leap at that, and you were ready, and you probably couldn't explain why you did come up, but you did come up, and that was that.
I couldn't explain it. I'm telling you, I've tried so many times. There's the book, everybody. I'll put it up and hold it up myself. There's the copy of the book right there. And we met just very, very briefly. But what I loved, I'm going to tell you something. I just want to share this with the world of the type of person you are, or at least I sense. And again, I don't know. We haven't talked since then. So everyone, just so you know, we don't talk every day or anything. But the type of person, when I came up to you, you sensed something. You said, "Hey, you want to talk?" And I was like, and I kind of said, "Yeah," or I was doing something. And then you said, like, "Right now." I was like, "Right now?" I was thinking, like, you just got off stage. You're busy, right? So, oh, I think we just lost his signal. Oh, we lost his signal. He'll come back in 2 seconds. But that's the book, everybody. Hey, listen, he'll be back in 2 seconds. That's the internet for you. Thanks, internet. It's all good. There's the book, and he knew there was something that was on my mind, and you know, I was just saying to him, like, I'm trying to figure things out. You know, I'm just trying to figure things out. And he was kind enough to say, "Hey, man, no one has it figured out. We're all trying to figure it out, and that's what connects us, and that's what we remember." And so on. There he is. I knew he'd be back. He'd be back. Don't panic. Listen, buddy. This is the internet. This is live. This is how it works. It's all cool, man.
Pandemic stories. This is messy. It's gonna be
That's
messy.
this is life, right? And there's the picture. Look how glassy my eyes were. I tried to keep it together for the picture, but it was really good to see you, man. And I got that beautiful 𝘄𝗏 hat. I love that. I love that logo, by the way. There's a lion in there, everybody. I mean, you can definitely, well, you can see what you want inside of that if you want, but I see the lion and the 𝘄𝗏 in there and so on. Anyway, I want to share that picture because again, I just thought you just got what I was feeling that day. So I appreciate that. Hey, listen, enough of my little love fest and my male crush here. Let's get on with what we got to do here. Return on courage. I mean, again, I love this word. I can't tell you how much this word means to me personally, for many different reasons and so on. But let's talk about the book a little bit. Let's just talk about the idea of courage. Let's start with a very simple thing. As you can imagine, everyone thinks courage is a different thing. Just tell us from Ryan Berman, what is courage? Where are we starting with?
Yeah, it actually started, and again, I think the ask for anybody that's listening is assume it's less a book and more a documentary.
Okay.
All right, so we're back to my remind word of the exploration, right? And back in 2015 is when I started really playing around with this concept. And at the time, I'm running a creative marketing agency in San Diego, and realized that every time my team is staying late, they're working on a courageous idea. And by the way, they're happy to stay late. They're not looking at the clock, right? So they're happier. They're working on this idea. And every single time one of our clients had bought this. Now, this is my last life, Peter, right? So which we'll get to.
Sure.
And by the way, every single time my team's working on a safe idea, right? Like it's like, oh, the client didn't pick that idea. They went with the safe idea. At 4:59, we have an empty office. Every other week, I've got a closed door meeting with somebody who's unhappy. And guess what? Those ideas didn't work as well. So I remember it's 2015 when I start the process and I go to my partners and say, I think this is our positioning. I think courageous ideas are the only ones that matter. And I want to write a book about it. And they're like, go. And I start this journey. And the first place I start is looking at the definition of courage. And the dictionary definition of courage is the ability to do something that frightens one. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't, like, please take a step forward. I'm taking a step back. And what I learned was I wasn't alone. And by the way, later on to your point, doing frightening things at work, I'm out. And so I just had like, I had a hard time with the definition. And then you later on, like, I've never written a book before, right?
That's scary.
Right. That's scary.
That's scary.
Who am I to judge the dictionary? I'd like to meet Mr. Dictionary someday, right?
Mr. Webster, yes.
Right. And so I have my own stuff that I'm dealing with as I'm going through it, my own fears that I'm inadequate on, questioning this definition. Now, over the course of 1,000 days, I got to sit with people way smarter than me. I called up the brave, the bullish, and the brainiac. And on the brave side, it was Navy SEALs, astronauts, tornado chasers, firefighters, just like was curious why they do what they do. They know what they're going to see, and yet they still go on and do it. Remember, I said I'm an observationalist. So I'm just extracting what I take from these folks. And then I met with the bullish. So leaders at Google, Apple, Method Soap, Domino's, Harvard. I still can't explain exactly why they took my call, by the way, other than
well, you had the courage to call. I mean, you had the courage to call, by the way. Just
touche. But there's something like if I would have called about coward brands, they're not taking that. I'm not getting a call back, right? And so
no,
I think they resonated with the word. I think they saw what they were doing as courageous, and sometimes it took a month from call to meeting, but like I was fascinated that like they took the call and then also that these big, agile, relevant businesses in North America were staying more agile than the little guy, and which I thought was fascinated by. And then on the brainiac side, it was like, I went to TVR school, television radio school. I had no idea how we were wired. And so I wanted to like talk to the experts in that space. And I had like clinical psychologists, the CEO of NeuroGym, who's a co-writer of The Secret, Cambridge PhDs, just like dumb it down for me. What's actually going on in our mind? Why do some of us tiptoe up right to that courageous move and then we freeze versus why others leap? And I came out the other side first with a new definition of courage. And again, I wanted to bring some utility to the table. And by the way, this is, as you know from the book is actually called Return on Courage. The idea is any willing business being or brand can return on the courage platform. And, being a double entendre guy also, return on ROC is how you maximize your ROI. Return on courage is how, you get that ROI back. But in the spirit of the book, I had to make a choice. And so I said, I think the subtitle is a business playbook for courageous change. The reality is, as you felt in the room, what I learned is a lot of what I learned from these leaders, because they're people first, is evergreen. Meaning if you're listening to this and you're making a set of intention cards, or you're just trying to be a great mom or dad at home or at church or whatever it is that your thing is, or your OV for the caps, right? That you could learn, you could actually learn how to be courageous. And it starts with this definition. And my definition is very simply knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage. And it needs to be all three of these levers. And as you think about your life, how often have you known the exact right move to make and you felt it was the right move for you, and yet you get right up to it, and most of us, we don't leap. We freeze in that moment. So much that the experts say 95% of us are in the freeze or flight camp versus the 5% that actually leap. So that
makes a ton of sense. By the way, for me, it's paralysis by analysis. I analyze everything, and it's basically a fake comfort thing. I recognize that, but it's paralysis. Like you said, you know it so well, you walk right up to it, and yet you still hesitate. It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, the irony is 2 of 3 of these levers in any direction is it's not courage. So knowledge and faith without action is paralysis, as you've just perfectly stated. And then faith and action without knowledge is a reckless move, right? I remember when I was writing the book at first, I went to my mom and I'm like, I'm writing a book about courage. And she says, "Oh, that's courageous." She meant it as like,
no, and it's true. Yeah, it's a true statement, but it's almost
right?
It's funny. But yeah, it's true.
And so, how many times have you done something in your life where you felt it was right and you leap, but you didn't have any knowledge? That's a reckless move. And then the aha moment that I had was knowledge and action without faith. And when we talk about faith, I don't mean it in the religious sense. I mean it in the belief sense, the inner belief sense, the intuition sense, the experience sense. And knowledge and action without faith. If you're numb on the inside, that's status quo. That's safe. That's safe. And again, that's okay. It's just, I don't want to spend my time on that because I want to be working with people that want to make courageous moves and courageous change. And without courage, there is no change. You don't get to pass go on the change. And so that means courage in itself is a journey word. And the destination is the change piece. That's the meaningful part at the end.
Oh, I like that because it just ties in with, you're so clever with that, by the way, the explore piece, the discovery, the unknown. I love that. I really do. Thank you for clarifying that. And yeah, again, I want you to say that equation one more time for everybody, if you could, to make sure I got it. And I wrote it down in my notes from the conference, but I want everyone else to hear you say it one more time.
Yeah. So knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage. Another way to say it, what do you think about this? How does it make me feel? And what are you going to do about it? And, you said earlier about your shameless plug. Here's mine. On the consulting side of my business, we call it a think, feel, do consultancy. So every single project we take on has a think component. There's a knowledge gathering component. There's a feel component, right? That's the faith building component. And then there's the doing. There's the action taking component. All of our projects are broken into 3s, and we're brought in to help companies think, feel, and do. So it's truly a courageous act.
Yes. Oh, this is fantastic. This is exactly where I wanted to go. I just want to make sure, hey, while we're here, Ryan, I just want to make sure I'm throwing up I'm putting up, throwing. Listen to me. Andrea, good to see you. Saw you live pop up. Jump on. Always good to see you, Andrea from Houston. Houston in the house. Daniel, good to see you. Maryland's in the house. That's close enough to Ovi's house.
I love it.
He's generally in that area somewhere. I don't know exactly where he is, but
I'm from Potomac originally. I'm a Maryland guy, so like crab cakes and football, baby. That's what we do.
That's right. Are you a big soccer guy too, from what I understand? So I know that. Exactly. Fantastic. Yeah, there's my beautiful spouse saying we need to go to San Diego. So
you're accepted. Come on over. Come on down.
There you go. Let's see. Oh, I love this here. Hold on. Love that, Ryan. Reset, remind, regroup, revitalize. Hey, that's Renuka. Hey, saying that. Yeah, I thought it was clever too. It's super clever. So I really appreciate that. It's awesome. Let's see if there's a few.
Again, that's clever, but like, my ask for the audience is the resets you free, right? So like, let's be intentional about, okay, what do you have to rethink in your life, or what do you have to rethink in your business? So there's a that needs to be addressed and audited. To me, that's the idea here is find your re.
I love it. I love this. Yes, Andrea, paralysis by analysis. Yes, that exactly can relate to that. I think that's a very common. I'm not suggesting that I'm the only one. That's for sure. Hagerstown, there you go. Boom.
Nice.
In the house right there. Good to see you, Tim. Thanks for showing up, Tim. Appreciate that. Tim's another gentleman that amplifies people's stories of cancer and so on, Ryan. So again, amplifying people that are doing good in the world. Always love that. And from Saudi, hey, good to see you. Good to see you, Saudi. Welcome to the house. It's all good. Listen, my fine friend. Yeah, courage. One of the things about the talk, again, you talk to a ton of companies and C-suites and leadership and so on. And I've done the same in my vertical of kind of doing these interviews and so on, right across the board too. It could be professional sports, it could be music and entertainment, it could be thought leadership, it could be philanthropy. But leadership is, again, you're still expecting people to step up to what leadership is, no matter what that vertical is. So before I get to the next part of, because I heard you say something at the gathering that I wanted to reference about leadership. So just for the record, leadership, what is that? What is leadership to you? What is because you talk to a lot of leaders about courage. So what is leadership?
Oh, great question. I think sadly the way I'll go about answering this is to say what isn't leadership.
Fair enough.
Right. Let's talk about what leadership isn't today. And I don't think anyone intentionally does this. So I don't think I think if there was more awareness, we would probably just sort of bypass this reality. But what I've seen with a lot of leaders is they turn leadership into cheerleadership, and they start rah-rahing with their staff and their teams. And deep down, there's a fear that needs to be addressed versus suppressed. And because they haven't authentically done that, they start another strategy to try to like rah the team. In some ways, it's lowest common denominator, right? So we become cheerleaders, and it's great to have support and love. But what I've learned is that what the team really wants is the truth, and they want to co-create. They want to be part of the solution. So the way I look at leadership is actually, this is very typical of me, Peter, which, like as a writer, I make up words. So I think the sole goal of leadership is actually something I call believership.
That's what I heard you say. Keep going, my friend. That's what I heard you say.
And believership is what leadership is all about. The sole goal of leadership is to create believership. And you even make believers out of your team. You make believers out of your staff. You make believers out of your customers. And look, the problem is if you're not making a believer, you're probably making a fake believer. Fake believers are not bad people, by the way, but they're not wearing a t-shirt that says fake believer.
Right.
As they kind of nod and smile and collect a paycheck. And
not buy in. So expand on that, because I heard you say that too. That was another thing you said, and I loved it. I said, it just resonated with me, this idea. And that's life in general, by the way. It's business. It's your employees, it's your customers, it's all these things, but it's life in general. Who you surround yourself with, are they make believers, or are they kind of fake believers? What is a fake believer, generally speaking?
Look,
to me, said they're not bad people,
but they should usually and again, this is not about business, right? Like this is not about business. This is about life. And like who you surround yourself with matters. And are you surrounding yourself with people that buy in and believe? And do you buy in and believe in them? Now, this is an incredibly difficult exercise to do with your family. Don't do this with the family. Like, don't eject yourself from your family. But in other parts of your life, like your time is valuable. Who you spend your time with is valuable. And like, if we can give you some tools to speed up the way you go about your life and your business so you can get where you want to get to faster, that's what this is all about. And to me, that's all about your believership. The way I described it, I think, from the stage is find your raft mates. Who are your raft mates? Now think about the raft. You can't have 50 people in the raft. The raft would go down. And if we're poor communicators in the raft, we're not all going in the same direction. And so get people that believe in and buy in on the same things that you do. And usually I would layer that back and say, in order to know if you're on the right raft, it starts with auditing yourself and looking at your core values and making sure you've audited those values. Now, look, if you went to any company whether they're good or bad or real or fake or collecting dust on the wall. Most companies have values. What I see is some CYA values. I see some protect your tail values, right? I see some, average values. They're not really operationalizing those values. But in the spirit of the audience today, my challenge and my ask to you is to treat yourself like the business, treat yourself like a brand. So what are your personal core values? And Peter, we spend all this time scrolling social media now, looking at other people, and we don't spend enough time scrolling ourselves. And the ask is to start with yourself and truly understand what your personal values are. Treat yourself like a brand. And I can tell you, for me, my number one value is optimism. Peter, you and I have known each other for now an aggregate of 2 hours, really, right?
Yes.
Are you surprised by that from what you know about me, that's my number one?
No, not at all. No, not since I saw your presentation, for sure. And if I would have met you, obviously you exude that sort of temperament, right? Which is like, yeah, you see things in a positive manner. Yeah.
Right. So almost, and again, can't totally do this with, your family all the time, but like outside of that, I try to use my values as my filters for decision making. Optimism, creativity, courage, and excellence. These are my 4, and these are the order that they're in. And when I get a little bit older and start thinking about who I spend my time with, I always throw it through that filter. And again, if somebody doesn't buy in on that stuff, they're not evil.
Right.
They're not
No.
bad people. But like down here in the States, there's 340 million people. I don't have to be best friends with all 340. I need to find my 3 to 40, right, that are my squad.
Yeah.
And then go make magic together.
I love it. Yeah, I love when you brought that up. And again, when I was talking about make believers and fake believers, I really like that, and it addresses that what I was getting at about leadership, because you talk to so many C-suites and so on. So moving in that same direction, I want to ask you about another thing you said about courageous brands and trying to create courageous brands, which is generally what we're talking about here today, people. With this book, we're talking about how leaders can create the culture of courageous brands, and with, of course, internally, externally, with your customers and clients and so on. One of the things you mentioned was clarity. There's a clarity epidemic. I just love that concept. Can you talk to that a little bit for people? What does that mean about a clarity epidemic that you see out there?
Well, I'll throw this back at you first. I mean, one, we're back to leadership. Okay, what is the role of the leader or of the believership? What do you, in your mind? See, this is a two-way street, Peter. This is what happens when you get a guy that has his own podcast too, right? So, like,
guy has a podcast, comes on, thinks he's going to do the questioning here.
Yeah. Two-way street.
I love it.
You're coming to visit me in San Diego. I get to ask a couple questions too.
That's right. You got 2 in there. You got 2 already. You're good. You're good.
So what's the soul of leadership? What's the sole purpose of leadership?
See, that's a fantastic question. I feel that I'm the wrong person to answer, and here's why. I'm not copping out of it. It's because I don't lead a team of people. I don't work for a corporation that leads a team of people. So from my understanding, again, when you think about leadership, I mean, there's a number of things, but one of them is you're trying to create a space for people to really just to be their best professionally, personally, find a sense of purpose, those kinds of things. Remove all the obstacles so that they can be their best. Something to that nature. I know there's a lot more to it than that, but
I think that is, if there's a 1-2 punch, everything you just said is a component of the 2.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think the 1-2 punch, if I am the leader, it is to set a clear direction,
right,
for where we're going, and also in a hopeful manner. Inspire hope. And that second part might be breaking news over the last decade, because what we've learned is that the next generation will not stay at companies that are not purpose driven.
Right.
So the clarity epidemic component is that, like, there's so many, you see it. You see why it's a cloudy time for leaders, because they were not totally sold on their next move. Their data might be telling them one thing, their Their staff might be telling them something else. The board swoops in, right, with their limited knowledge of the situation, and they have their point of view. On social media, the sentiment says something else. Their gut's telling them something else. And you've got these 5 or 6 or 7 data points, and they're conflicting with each other sometimes. And it makes it hard to sift through all of that and go, this is where we're going. And then and by the way, when the leader is like, this is where we're going, but the leadership team, the believership's like, well, wait a minute, why? The data said this or the data said that. And now you've got discord. You can see why it's an incredibly cloudy time for leaders. And again, that's what Courageous Change is all about, is going, look, this is where we're going. And the irony is we're right back to, in my opinion, where to start is back at the values of the business. And I always say it's you can't see, even on a cloudy night, you can't see the North Star, right? And so stop looking outward and start looking inward and decide, where should we be going if we value this as a brand, right? If you don't know what you stand for, you never know when to take a stand. That starts with values. And then make sure that leadership team all values those values. Now, they bring breadth of experience to the team, but the values, right, here they are. There's not 20, there's 3, there's 4. They're prioritized so you can operationalize them. And then once you have that on lockdown, you can decide, where should the business be going? And you've got everyone on the believership saying, hey, I get it, but this is where we're going. If it's not for you, all good, but jump off this bus.
Right.
Jump off this bus and let's find the right people. Now, at Patagonia, right? Like, if anyone's gonna have a North Star,
right?
Yes. I mean, Patagonia would probably be it. Now, again, the North Star is on the inside for them, but when people try to get a job at Patagonia, they know they're trying to save our planet. It's very clear, and this is the problem. I think most people trying to get a job at big companies, they're not totally sold what the intention of the business is, other than to make money. And what we've learned about that next generation is they vote with their dollars. They wear their values on their sleeves. If you don't have that rally cry in your why, those people they're not going to stay. They're going to leave. The good ones are, and they're going to go find a company that has a true rally cry in their why.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I like what you said there, because I've heard this phrase before, and so I certainly won't take credit for it. And I can't remember where it was. There's in so many different things that I've read before over time, but it's the idea of congruency. I think people are looking for congruency when they come for a place to work, and like you said, that you believe in something, so that where your mind, your mouth, your heart, your wallet, and your feet are all moving in the same direction, right? This congruency of saying one thing but spending money another, or saying one thing and thinking another. So trying to get those all aligned, I think people are starving for that clarity.
Well, when we talk about courage, right, knowledge is in the mind, my eyes, right? Faith is in the heart. It's in the intuition. It's out of the head. And then action is where? Action is with your mouth. It's with your wallet. It's with your feet, right? So it's the exact same conversation. Now, this might be a tip. I'm curious, and I've never shared this, so I'm curious to hear if this lands or doesn't land with the audience. Permission granted. So I think I know now what the worst word in the dictionary is.
Oh, do tell, as I lean in.
At least it is for business, because moist is on the list for like life. Moist is a terrible word. Okay, but I think I think the worst word in a business setting is tolerate.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think if you're tolerating behavior, and ask yourself, if you put the business on pause for a minute, well, that leader is tolerable, or this behavior is something I will tolerate. That is a ticking time bomb. And all it is a moment in time for you to recognize that even you need to change the way you're leading, or you probably need to get off that train. And I hope I don't get a lot of phone calls on this one, be like, I can't believe you made me quit my job. But it's just, these tools are supposed to be there to audit, right?
Yeah.
Are you in a tolerable business, or are you in a business that like lights you up? Is it a courageous culture, or is it a culture driven by fear? Obviously, we know which one we want to be in.
Right. Ah, love that. Hey, listen, that's a conversation in itself right there. Because there's certainly no return on tolerance.
No, that's not going to be a book. That's a very short book.
Just so you know, everybody, he's not going in that direction, just so you know. I just wanted to make sure. But I love that. I love what you just said there. Let me just see if we got a few more people. I just always want to acknowledge people that are tuning in from around the world. We super appreciate that. Oh, there's my beautiful friend from Moldova, all the way on the border of Ukraine and Moldova, Ryan.
Nice.
Chris, that gentleman. So Chris has a charity, and we're going to talk about charity in a second because I know you have the philanthropic heart as well. Chris and his wife Zoe, they work on the border, talking about a very dark subject, but help so many people with human trafficking, orphans, children, young women, women in general. Very difficult, but they're also helping in all kinds of different ways. But the predominant theme there is that they're in a very conflictive area of the world, as you can imagine. A lot of displaced people who are dealing with war and conflict. There he is, tuning in live. We appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. I just want to give you a shout out, brother, because you're doing great work. So we appreciate that. And there is another. There's a young gentleman right there, Byron. Good to see you, Byron. Byron, just so you know, Ryan is also a very, very cool gentleman, but he served in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot. Wow. And he was a helicopter pilot for 40 years. So kudos to you, my fine friend. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate that. And Daniel, always thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, listen, it's easy to have a great conversation with this guy across the board here. I think it's just because he likes you because you're from Maryland. That's what I think it is.
Guilty.
It's all good. Let's talk about philanthropy because you have something that you're passionate about, and I want to make sure that people know about something that I've done a little research on, and I love it because you have no idea how much I love socks. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, they're like, my socks are just the craziest. I think I have the simplest pair on today. These are the simplest ones I have. Just, polka dot ones and stuff like that. And I mean, they always have something written on them. There's always some message or something. And I love what you're doing in the world of philanthropy. So before we go there, because I have talked to a lot of people in the world of philanthropy and giving back and making a difference and so on. That word has been used, and I think it's a hijacked word that people think philanthropy is, cocktail dresses and suits and tuxedos writing big checks. But I want to know what you think philanthropy is. What is philanthropy? What is giving back?
Look, I think in some ways it is above my pay grade, honestly, on this one. Like it almost takes it out of. I don't see myself as a philanthropist. I see myself as you avoided one question. This is me avoiding one. Okay. So I see myself as.
Don't work like that, just so you know. But hey, you are a philanthropist for starters, but keep going. You are one, but keep going.
I'm just trying to use what my superpower for good, right? Like it's as simple as that. Like, what am I good at? I'm a pretty decent storyteller. And if I could, because even the concept. So the concept is called sock problems.
That's right.
You heard that right. So sock is both a noun and it's a verb. And if you were going to sock a problem in the world, what problem would you sock? Would you sock racism? Would you sock climate change? Would you sock breast cancer? And that's basically what the concept is that we're out to sock problems in the world with altruistic socks, and each sock socks a different problem. We actually give 25% of targeted cash back to different charity partners. Every single sock in our line, there's a charity partner. I'm wearing these lovable little rainbows today. It's my Sock Hate sock, where 25% of the proceeds go back to the Trevor Project. Or if you wanted to sock prostate cancer, then maybe you would go with our socks that have lovable little mustaches on it, right? And that goes back to Movember. And look, if we've learned anything about me, I am not an expert in socking problems. I'm a storyteller, but our partners are. And so if I can get more people in the world, this is our tagline, to care and to wear and ultimately share, then we actually have a shot. And so at a macro level, it would be great if we solved a problem in the world. And I think if we've learned anything about the way this world is going, problems sadly are not going away anytime soon. But at a micro level, I think our gender could be better communicators. We're not great at it. At least, you know, a nonverbal way to be a better communicator is if someone in your family is coping with breast cancer, you could slip on our 𝘂𝗏 breast cancer pairs, snap a picture of it, send it to the person that you love who's coping, and it instantly connects. So I think we want to make a dent. It's an overwhelming time. And my hope are these socks help you make your little mark with the things that you're already passionate about. And Peter, even how this started and happened, it wasn't like I always wanted to start a sock company and here we go. To be truly vulnerable with the audience, I had a 2-year non-compete when I fired myself in 17 to 19 and found 2 partners who shared my values, but were excellent at things that I wasn't good at. One was a great operator and one was like a master builder for like in Shopify. And we came together and built the company. And so now, gosh, we're 3 or 4 years in. And again, it's so much fun to be able to again, like I said, use that superpower for good. And it is my courage brand. That's how I describe it. So yeah, here you go. Let's solve problems together, right? And if you want to solve bullying or 𝘂𝗏 breast cancer or 𝘂𝗏 cancer, we probably have a sock for you.
I love it. I love it. I wanted to make sure, again, that, the reason why I wanted to share that there's a number of reasons, but one of them is to show, who you are as a person and your intention of how you do business. So this is an indicator. If you're doing business with Ryan, this is the kind of person you're kind of dealing with, who has this kind of vision and outlook and so on, that wants to help the world. And like you said, lift all the boats. I love that. Why is that important to you, by the way? Why is giving back so important? I mean, you could be spending your time on other things. I mean, why is it so important?
Well, I don't know. I feel like, you know what? This is at the age of 8, I went to summer camp and I had to get on an airplane to go there for a month. And what I learned at that camp, which really showed me like being a good person and giving back and being service oriented. By the way, my parents taught great values too. So it's not like they abandoned me. I got very lucky, but I always felt like I learned at a young age that was important. And I think you can have it all. I think you can design a life where you're helping people and you're making money and you have freedom. And I will say, it wasn't always like this, Peter. Someone once said to me on the book writing journey, it takes you 40 years to figure out who you are and the next 40 to be that person. And that kind of hammered home as I'm writing the book around the time I'm 39 years old, and realized that the book Return on Courage was less about what I thought it was going to be, which is a great business card, and more of a realization that I wrote the book because I needed the book first.
Right.
And then with a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old watching every move I'm making, I want them to go live a courageous life. And so how can I talk about it? That's like thinking and feeling and not doing, right? Which we already said is not courageous. So I just started, mirroring what I was thinking and feeling in my actions. And like I said, I do not have it all figured out. Life is messy. I'd rather be doing this where I get to experiment and play. And again, and Peter, 2019 in a pandemic, it's not like I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm 3 or 4 years in on it, but absolutely love that I can help people fight their fear, whatever that fear might be. I say I'm a fear fighter, which I love. Fight fear, create clarity, and build belief. And that's really the idea behind how you unpain chains for people.
I love it. I love it. Listen, just kudos to you for giving back, making a difference. And like you said, using your superpower to do that. That's how I feel about, having a microphone or having the ability to broadcast is that you have to use that as a force for good. You have to do that. And for me, it's very compelling that I spend my time doing that. And that's why that story is important to me, and hopefully all the people that you're supporting as well. Love the socks, by the way. Hey, I'm going to come down and pick up my own pairs in person. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I do that. Well, thank you for doing that. I just want to give you a shout out on that, because I just think it's so important that we support. And there's the website, everybody. Again, sockproblems.com, so you can go there and learn a little bit more about it, and connect with Ryan here on LinkedIn, of course, and so on. Let's just see. We got a couple more comments here. It's excellent to see people. Boom, from London. Oh, here we go. Kevin Cox checking in from London. Boom, right there. I love it. See, international. They come to see you, Ryan. They come to see you.
No. You've got the fan base. You've got the fan base.
Listen, my friend, they're here to see you. They want to talk about courage and so on. That's what they want to talk about. Hey, let's, I want to jump right very quickly here, because I never want to lose the idea that I'm not sharing how people can reach you. So this is really, really important. But here it is. Here's a good looking fellow right here. I've seen him speak, everybody. If this is not a testimonial enough, I'm just telling you, do yourself a favor. And check out the website there. It is, there we go. Boom. Ryan Berman. Let's make sure we get out there. I love your website. Talks a little bit about what you're doing. Keynote consulting, training, workshops, return on courage. We just talked about altruism, which is a fantastic word. That alone is a subject we need to talk about another time, altruism. But I know your time is limited. We're already 50 minutes in, everybody, and this guy's got to go. He's got places to go and be. So we got to keep moving along here. I'm just trying to be very conscious of your time, my fine friend. So I want to make sure we do that. Hey, listen, we're not. I got to learn more about you as well. I mean, I haven't even spent any time. I know you like in collectively 120 minutes now. I mean, how do you know people? You don't. You have to ask questions. That's what you got to do. So I'm going to bring something up here, and I hope you enjoy it. Actually, this is what I want to know. I want you to appreciate this and have some fun, because I'm trying to figure out a little bit. So this is reflections. We're going to do some reflections with you. Here we go.
Cool.
Reflections with Ryan Berman, everybody. Really simple stuff, and we just want to find out who you are, a little bit more about you, and maybe you can help me explain some of this right here. So let's start with this. Ryan, who's that beautiful person? Who's that beautiful person?
That's my better half. Yeah, that's the CEO of the Berman family right there.
Awesome.
So that's Randy. That's my wife. I'm really proud of her right now. She basically put her career on hold when 9 years ago our boy came into this world, and just now that we think the kids are going to make it, knock on wood, she's is back in school, and she's fulfilling her purpose and going after her passion. I'm super proud of her.
Awesome. Cheering for her. That's fantastic. Who are these fine, good looking people right there?
Yeah, that's the Berman family as a whole right there. Yeah, you've got in the background.
She's got her hands full. Randy's got her hands full.
Yeah, Randy, well, with all three of us, and she tries to keep us in check, and she does a good job of it. But we have a lot of fun in the family. My boy Micah in the back, he's 9. He is my like, if you ask me what he's actually said to me, Daddy, I want to work at Courageous. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm not sure he totally fully gets what we do, although I just say we help people be more courageous, and we need more courage in the world. And he likes that idea. And in the front is my crazy 6-year-old Mackenzie. I would say Micah is my rule follower, and Mackenzie is my roommate.
College buddy. Like college buddies.
We're just roommates. I'm like, you gonna join us for dinner tonight? She's like, just a sec. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Don't let us interfere. Who are these beautiful people right there? Boom.
So wow. So Mama Berman is and my brother Matt. My brother Matt we actually got a chance to work on a project together the last couple of years, and it was awesome. And he, it's so funny that I'm air quoting, like I'm the writer with the best-selling book, because he is by far the most talented writer in our family. Like, if you did Family Feud for writers, like he should get the most votes. He's an exceptional writer. And so a project that I was working on was able to bring him in. And so my Hagerstown guy will be happy. He's in DC, by the way. And it was just awesome to like, you never know, like that project could go south fast. And it did. It brought us closer together. Always good to have an older brother on your side. But Mama Bear was a teacher. And I actually think my keynote style, Peter, is very much like a cocktail of my mom and dad. Like if you pour out a little bit of both of them, my mom being the teacher was very sweet, very empathetic. We're going to be patient. My dad was the lawyer, right? There's a jury. The audience is the jury. We have to make this point before we move on to the next point. Once we've established this point, only then can we move to the next point. And then once we've established that point, all right, are we all together still? Let's move to the next point. We can't lose anybody. We have to be that focused. And that's where your details, by the way, really, really play. This point, then that point, and then that point. So to me, again, I'm a nice blend of the two of them.
You are that. I was just going to say, you described yourself well, because that's actually how you are when you present. You bring people in, engaging, you're learning stuff. But boy, it's structured. It feels loose, but it's not loose. It's very structured. I know. I appreciate that. Who's that good looking fellow with the beautiful 70s mustache? I love it.
Oh yeah, this is the Ovi fan club right here. You're looking at the Ovechkin.
Oh,
fan
am I
club.
looking at the three most? Oh, am I really?
I mean, we bleed DC sports. It's, if anything, it shows our loyalty, because it's been a tough 20 years. I mean, even just having to say the Wizards, which is our basketball team, like, is hard. Yes. I won't even touch football, but these are the Berman boys, and it was, like I said, very lucky, very awesome childhood.
Awesome, buddy. No, awesome. I think that's a good looking follow right there. Is it not?
Oh, yeah. There you go. There's your cap shot. Yes, no doubt. This is probably a couple months ago, and no doubt, like I learned my work ethic from my dad. He has his own law firm and still works. He turns 80 in August, and it's his hobby. There's joy there. You know, Peter, I could see you and I doing this for a long time, just because we're lucky enough to love what we do. But I learned my work ethic from him. He said to me, when a new lawyer comes into the firm, they're like, well, what are the rules of the firm? He's like, I only have 2 rules. He's like, when you get in, come say hi to me. And when you leave, come say goodnight to me.
Wow.
And that tells you everything you need to know about my dad and his work ethic, you know? And hey, look, growing up, we would sit there, we'd have to wait for dinner, because mom was like, we're waiting until dad gets home, and then we're having dinner as a family. So there was, that was courageous in its own way.
Yeah. Right? That's old school. That's old school. And it's good school. It's old school, but it's good school. I love hearing that. Yeah. And I see that you guys snuck in that number 8. I thought I'd get it in there for you. I saw it in there.
Rock the red, baby. Rock the red.
Yeah, there you go. Who's that good looking fellow right there? What's he doing?
This is my first love story. This is my first love. And you know, I remember, I mean, ever since, gosh, 5, 6, 7 years old, back in the good old days when there was like 3 channels on your TV, and then you had this obscure channel that, like, you didn't turn to usually, except on Saturdays. They played Hamburg soccer in Germany, and I don't know how it was on this channel, but I would wake up early and I would watch this channel. And so this is me on the 76ers, and ever since I can remember, I mean, I was definitely the guy that whatever sport it was, whatever season it was, I was with the seasons, but soccer was year round for me. It was my number 1 love. And it's funny and ironic. Yesterday, I was in the LA Galaxy office with Chris Klein, who's a great guy. He's president of the Galaxy, but he played for the national team, 13 years in the MLS, great human being. And so, again, if you're trying to design a life where you can, like I said, use your superpower for good, but play in the spaces you should play, the fact that I'm doing work here in San Diego with Landon Donovan, with the San Diego Loyal, and helping them build out that team down here, and then doing a little bit of work with the Galaxy. And I still play in an old man league. So that is the perk of San Diego. I will
I
tell you
love,
that.
yeah. Hey, summer sports all year round. Well, I'm in Canada, so we'll talk about that another. It's a totally different story altogether. This young fella right here, talk about courage. Tell me what you tell that guy about courage. What would you do if you went back and talked to that guy and said, "You're not feeling very courageous right now, young fella, but let me just share a couple things about courage with you." What would you say to him?
Well, I would say that life is messy and you got lucky and you get to play and like enjoy every moment of it. And then don't lose that sense of wonder when you get older. And I feel like the great news, other than the beautiful hair that I don't have anymore,
Hey, I love the hair. It's awesome.
that little boy like is still who I am. Like I feel like I get to play, I get to be curious with my work. The soccer field looks different, right? The soccer field might be a boardroom. It might be a conversation like this. But I got lucky, man. I really did. I had a good start, and I want to honor that little boy. I still always say, like, doing things that remind me of myself as a little boy, I'm in on. Going to the movie theater, playing soccer, watching soccer, being with my family. So the advice would be just keep smiling, stay curious, stay social, be a force for good, stay optimistic, and enjoy the ride.
Oh, love that. Yeah, enjoy the ride. It's so short. Listen, I'm sensitive to time these days. I know exactly what you mean by that. You got to enjoy. You got to stay present. You got to be here all the time. Your time is super tight. Do you have 5 more minutes with you? 5? Can you have 5? No,
I don't. I'm already late for my next call.
He's late for his late call, everybody. I've never had a guest leave early.
Oh no!
I don't want to be that guy. I'm only giving you a hard time. Listen, I super appreciate you being here, my friend. I pushed you right to the very limit. We didn't even get to this or that. Just an excuse for us to get back together and do something. I want to remind everybody here. There it is, Ryan Berman. You can go there. Courageous Podcast, everybody. You can check that out. You can see it right behind you. Boot camps, does all kinds of cool things. Company wide, has a brand new book. Here's the book right there. Return on Courage, everybody. Get out to the website. There's where you can get it. My fine friend, I just knew this was going to be an awesome conversation. I hope you had fun today. I hope you had fun today.
Of course, and we'll do it again. I had a great time.
Yeah, appreciate you being here, my friend. Everybody else, listen, super appreciate. We're going to go into the comments, make sure we get back to everybody. We appreciate you all being here and so on. And hey, you know what this is what it's all about around here, Ryan, just so you know. It's just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. That's all you have to do. Ryan, we'll talk to you soon. You go to your meeting. Everybody else, you take care of yourself. Be kind, everybody. See you next time.
Everybody. See you, Peter.
Let's just be kind out there. Let's be kind. Be kind out there. Just be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everybody. Be kind out there. Be kind out there. Be kind out there, everyone. Be kind. You know, as I always say to everybody, hey, just be kind out there. Let's just be kind out there. Be kind out there, everyone. Be kind out there. You know, just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. You know, just be kind out there. You know, just be kind. Be kind. Just be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. Be kind out there, everyone. Be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everyone. Just be kind. That's all you have to do. Just be kind out there. Always end the show like this. Just be kind, everybody. You know, just be kind out there.